I mean, it's already soaring. The national debt is at a point where, it wouldn't take a very big increase in the interest rates that we have to pay on that debt to throw the federal budget into chaos. And we're pretty much there. But, as I said, the way that the U.S. will respond is the way most other countries will respond. And that will be to create as much new currency as it takes to cover these new costs, which means the national debt, the amount of money that the government owes, will go up even more dramatically once that process really gets going. So there doesn't seem to be any end to it because, we're not going to default on our debt because we have a printing press. We can create enough new currency to cover our interest costs, whatever our interest costs are, but at the cost of rising debt at an accelerating rate. So you reach a point where there's no way out, and you could argue that we're there now, but if we're not there now, we will be there soon. We're heading in that direction and there's no way to stop it.
One question, Debbie says, how much cash should one hold? I know this is a question of debt and so on. Should you be spending your money before the next increase of debt, impacts the currency even further? So should you be spending, in other words, getting rid of your cash before they destroy it further?
Yeah, see, this is how things blow up when you get into an inflationary cycle. Because yes, the logical conclusion to in a depreciating currency is to spend it as soon as possible to buy all the stuff you're going to need in the next couple of years right now, instead of waiting and going to Costco the day you need it. What that does is push prices up even further, which spooks even more people into panic buying and so on until the thing spins out of control. So yeah, prepping is one logical way to deal with inflation. And that's why once the inflation genie is out of the bottle, it's very hard to put it back in because you get people acting in ways that accelerate inflation instead of slow it down. How you should prepare for it, other than buying the stuff you're going to need a year in advance, would be to, yes, hold a lot of cash, but not currency cash. Dollar cash is going to be depreciated dramatically by government policy going forward. So you want to look at older kinds of cash like gold and silver, where the supply is limited, governments can't make more of it. Therefore, its scarcity tends to cause it to hold its value going forward, no matter what's happening in the world. So with gold and silver, you'll probably see their prices go up enough to offset the inflation that we're seeing in the currency, and that protects you. That protects the part of your finances that would normally be in cash. And then beyond that, there's an investment thesis that flows from this, which is to get into real things. The same characteristics that make gold and silver valuable, scarcity, a slow increase in supply that governments can't affect. That applies to lots of other things like oil wells and farmland and rental houses. So if you shift your finances in that direction so that you own gold mining stocks to the extent that you own stocks and you own some real estate, very well chosen, very carefully chosen real estate in a place that isn't super cyclical and that has a function, not just, a condo in Miami that only has value if some Brazilian wants to buy it as a place to stash his cash, but a piece of farmland that produces food, which we're always going to need, has an intrinsic value that will not change during an inflationary period. So, you start directing your finances in that direction, and to the extent that you do it, you become more and more protected from what's coming. What you don't want to do is have a big exposure to things that governments can create in infinite quantities. So you don't want to own a lot of bonds that just pay you in dollars at a time when dollars are depreciating. You don't want to own a lot of bank stocks because banks basically just depend on paper currencies for their value. There are lots of other things like that. The home builders, they depend on an ever-increasing supply of ready cash for home buyers. You take that away, and their value drops dramatically. So you could, if you're aggressive, you could do a long-short strategy that would be potentially brilliant. Going back to 2006, 2007, if you went short the home buyers, short the banks, long precious metals over the next decade, you made a lot of money. And it's in some ways similar, but much more extreme today. So it's completely possible that there's another big short scenario out there where you can bet against things and they'll go down and you'll make money. And that there are a lot of things that will go up in the coming environment. So you go long them and you make a lot of money. So this can be done. You can definitely invest for the coming crisis and do really well. We've been creating crazy amounts of money for the past 30 years. And now it's starting to push prices up in a really noticeable way. But it's not clear that we have continuing inflation at this level in our future because higher interest rates are anti-inflationary.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.